On today's ChurchTechCast.com screencast show, 3 tricks to help you with your presentation and last-minute changes. The ChurchTechCast.com screencast show is generously provided for by viewers like you. Thank you. Head on over to patreon.com/Paul Allen Cliff. That's patreon.com/Paul Allen Cliff, PAULALANCLIF, and you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. Every little bit helps, so thank you for your support. Okay, so last week I got a few different questions from a viewer, so I thought that I would share at least one of the answers because it really will help a lot of people. But it's such a short answer, I thought I would throw in a couple of my other tricks that I use pretty much all the time in ProPresenter. So let's take a look at exactly what those are, and we'll go from there. So heading over to ProPresenter 5, we're over here, and the first trick is the one that was the answer to the question, which was, let's say you've got a bunch of text, let's say like this much on a screen, and you really need to have a lot less. Let's say like that much. How can you do that very quickly and easily? Well, you might think that you should right-click and go to Edit Slide and select all the text that you don't want, and then cut it. Command X. Again, I'm on a Mac. Add a new slide, and then Command V for paste, and you're getting closer, but that was a lot of work. So let's see if we can't just undo that, shall we? And let's see here. Yes. Okay, so what I did there was I just did Command Z 3 times and it let me undo it. So you can do it here in the edit slide, but you have a little more flexibility if you do what I'm about to show you. So if you make a mistake, you can do Command Z and undo what I'm about to show you. I think it's a little bit easier to do this in the Reflow Presentation screen. So let's get out of that, and again, this is right above where you can see here, which is in the File menu. So click on File and scroll down, and you see this, it says Reflow Presentation. That's the one that you want to use. So we're going to click on that, and that should bring it up. So let's scroll down here to verse 2. And verse 2, first off, I don't need the number 2, so we can do that. Now, you'll see that when I did that, it actually put me on the previous slide. Here, let me move this over so that you can see. And that's not what I want whatsoever. So instead, what I can do is I can hold down Command, Option, or Alt. If for some reason, let's say you're using a Mac Mini and you're using an old Windows keyboard, it's the Windows key and Alt. So Command, Option, or Windows key, Alt. Again, this is controlling the Macintosh version of ProPresenter, but using a Windows keyboard. And then tap Enter. And here's what happens. Oh look, new slide. So now I want 2 more lines. Click on where I want it. Command, Option, new slide. So you see how that can be done really quickly and easily, that I can really just go through here real fast and add new slides. So that's pretty cool right there, what I just did. So you might be thinking, well, Paul, what if I make a mistake and I've already left this and I come back and the worship leader or whoever's in charge, or maybe it's your personal preference. You just decide this one line on the screen by itself, that was a mistake. What do I do in that case? No problem, I've got you covered. So again, put your cursor at the beginning of the slide that you do not want. You still want the words, you just want it on the previous slide in addition. Again, Command Alt or Command Option, Windows key Option, and this time instead of Enter, go for Backspace. I swear to you this worked before. I suppose you could just do Backspace a couple of times, that'll do it. So I thought that was Command Enter Backspace. Well, just Backspace a couple of times will do that and solve that problem. So that is this slide right here that has the 3 on it. So once I'm done, I can just click Save. If I want to overwrite or save as, this works just like you would expect. Save as will bring up a new version, and I could like have a Mighty Fortress is Our God formatted or short or whatever. I'm just going to click Save and then do that. So now you see that I have this correctly formatted. I didn't go through the trouble of making this its own verse. I really should, and we'll talk about that perhaps on a future show, but I just wanted to show you that. Well, let's say you get a little excited and you have accidentally clicked a slide too early. So let's say it's right here, and there is a short musical interlude. Long enough that you don't want to leave this slide, but not so long that you need a blank slide in between. And for some reason, you got excited and you click this only to realize that you'd made a mistake. So normally you'd have that go up. Well, let's go back to this situation. I've actually already shown you this next trick, and this is something that I discovered quite by accident, and that is when you click on a slide like this, nothing happens until you either move your cursor and drag it, in which case it thinks you want to move it, or you let it go. Now when you let it go, that's when it puts it up there. So let's say that they're singing On Earth Is Not His Equal, and you get excited and you click on Did We in Our Own Strength Confide, and you realize you shouldn't have. Just continue to hold that bad boy down. Just hold it, hold it, hold it, and now they're singing, and you can release it. And when you do, that's when it'll show up. So that could save your bacon on more than one occasion. I have before, here's what I've done is I've made that mistake, and by holding it a few seconds longer, or by holding it until the next element starts in the case of the video or something like that, I have been able to make it look like I did not make a mistake. So while you did make a mistake and you know you made a mistake, no one else need know that you made a mistake because you're holding down that arrow until the right time. So this actually is a two-part tip, because in order for this to be the case, what you need to do is you need to not use either the space bar or the arrow keys. Because if you use the spacebar or arrow keys, you can't unclick. So what I am wondering right now, and I've never actually done this, is what happens if I hit the spacebar by mistake but I continue to hold it down. Let's see if it goes through these very quickly or if it does the exact same thing. So I'm going to hold down the spacebar right now. Yeah, it goes through them very quickly. So that doesn't work with that. And remember, the up and down arrow keys, they switch items in the playlist, which is down below here, not things here. So I couldn't go right back here or right back here if I'd made that mistake. I would have to either go like this, or this brings me to the other tip. So let's say that I somehow ended up down here, right? So I'm on this slide, slide number 11, but I really want to be on slide number 6. So in this case, the keyboard is your friend. Type the number of the slide, and you'll see it show up, and hit enter, and that takes you there. You might be thinking, well, what about double digits, like number 10 immediately below it? No problem. Type in 10. Make sure they both show up, 10, and enter. And that'll take you there. So what I do, I don't know if your worship leader is like mine, but most of the time they give us the order and everything, but occasionally that changes. In some churches, that would change every single time, and that's why worship software is absolutely a must for you. In other churches, it's never going to change. Well, the one time in a billion it changes because they forgot something or made a mistake or something like that. That trick will come in handy where, let's say, you're singing along and it's "On earth is not his equal." Let's say these are correctly formatted, and for whatever reason the worship leader decides to skip "Did we in our own strength confide," and went directly to "And though this world with devils filled." Okay, so let's say he or she skipped from here to here. First thing, you don't have to look at every single slide to figure out where your worship leader is. You just need to look at the first one. So that's why, for one thing, changing the color of this would have been very helpful, because I could have looked at the, let's say this was green, I could have looked at the first green one. No, that's not it. First orange one is it. So when I see the first orange one is in fact the one, I can either click on it, or a much faster way, since my cursor was up here, is to type 10, enter, like I did. So those are the three tricks. In Reflow Presentation, and that also works in Edit Slide, by the way. Command plus Option plus Enter separates slides. Backspace puts them back together. Wait to lift on your click if you click too early, and using the clicking versus the spacebar or the arrow key. That's all one tip. And finally, looking at the first slides in every verse, chorus, etc., singing ahead in your head, and noticing that if you need to skip quite a few, you can type in the slide number no matter what it is. That'll show up on your control screen, and then you hit enter to go to it. So those are my 3 tricks for today of how you can use ProPresenter 5 in your church as you're going out and changing eternity. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford with TrinityDigitalMedia.com.